Hello, hello, and welcome everyone to the Board Game Design Variety Hour. I'm your host, Matthew Dunstan. Hope you're all well. Sorry, I was a little late brewing my tea, as I said. Hi, Nicholas. Hi, Alex. I've got Bez lurking away, and Brad's dropped by. Thanks everyone for dropping by. I hope you're all well. Hey, Rory, how you going? Hope everyone's well after hopefully a nice weekend. It bizarrely has once again dropped to be quite cold here in Prague, although a bit more sunny, which is nice. Hey, Philios, how you going? Which is good. But yeah, it was bizarrely snowing this morning, which I wasn't really expecting. It hasn't really hung around, but that is sort of it's a bit chilly. So how's everyone going? What were your weekends full of? I had a good weekend here. Actually, it was mainly taken up with not my own exploits actually so much, but Terezi, my partner. For those who don't know, she runs a film museum here in Prague called Na Film, and they were actually nominated for the Czech version of the Oscars this year. There was a special award for like special achievement in audiovisual or something like this. It was a bit sort of like a catch-all category. So they're called the Český lev, or the Czech Lions, and they had their ceremony this weekend on Saturday evening. And I actually managed still, we're still in the middle of a sort of a hard lockdown here, but they did a lot to try and make an event that people could still attend. Even it was quite limited in how people could attend, but it was sort of a semi-in-person event. So Terezi had a nice dress and got all dressed up, so they went along. I couldn't go because of the kind of restrictions. Only really just the nominees could go, but they won, which is fantastic. I mean, it's a win in a slight asterisk in that there were three different sort of groups nominated in their category. As I said, this is kind of a bit of a special category. So it's like the Oscars. You have like best actor, best film, best director, etc., etc. But in this particular thing, so there was them with the museum, and there was one which was a web series, I think, that actually won an Emmy, which for a Czech production is pretty amazing. And there was another sort of organization in the Czech Republic this year that sort of ever since the pandemic has been doing a lot of work to like screen theater performances and different like cultural events. And bring them to the people at home, or like to kind of work with them during the pandemic. So they've done a lot of really great work, and they decided to award, a Český lev to everybody, each of the three people in the category, which I think was definitely a right decision. It seems like all three are doing amazing things. And thanks everyone for the really kind thing. I'll see if I can find the. I might be able to show a picture, but I'm not sure if I'm going to. Anyway, it was a fun night, definitely. And interesting enough, the only thing as I sort of look is I don't think, for some bizarre reason, they're not on the. Oh yes, here we go. I wonder if they've just been added, I guess. But anyway, I can probably show this. So this is the. Český lev. Actually, I can probably leave it in Czech. And yeah, they're here down. Let's find it. Yeah, so this was this special award in audiovisual, and Na Film is this museum that Terezi helped set up. So anyway, so that was the main event of the weekend here. They were out partying late into the morning on Sunday, which is nice. A private party, not on the streets or anything like that. So otherwise, I've been sort of toiling away at my own designing as always, and various bits and pieces. Nothing too new to. I didn't come back on Friday, as everyone would know. I guess on Friday afternoon, I didn't come back to do any more streaming. I just enjoyed playing the new Luck Be a Landlord patch privately. It turns out it wasn't a huge patch in a way. There wasn't a lot of new content. There are a couple of interesting kind of new things that makes it. They kind of added like the equivalent of the chapel in Dominion to this. So there's now a specific way that you can actually remove symbols by choice from your spinners, which is kind of a new thing. So you get a lot of more control and things like that. Evening, Robert. How are you going? Welcome. And hey, Manuel, I didn't see you before. Yeah, so definitely, if you're interested in kind of, I would say it's more strategic now. There's a few more choices, which is quite interesting. And yeah, so definitely check it out if that interests you. Yeah, it does make these kind of like small symbol decks more possible in Lucky Landlord. Hi Jay, how you going? Yeah, so anyway, hope you all had a good weekend, whatever you're up to. I don't have any kind of news or channel news or anything like that really to speak of today. I just sort of moving along with working on some new scenarios for another kind of narrative game project that hasn't been announced yet, but the game should be out mid this year, I think. I hope. So we're actually already working on. So we've produced 3 scenarios already, which will be kind of part of the initial launch, and then they've just asked us, and now we're working on the next set of 3 actually that would be released next year, because you obviously there's a lot of lead-in time for these things. So yeah, it's a funny thing to kind of be working on they're not expansions exactly, but they're kind of like expansions before the main game has even been released. But yeah, that's kind of how it's happening. I guess some other kind of brief news or things to kind of look forward or to put in your diaries. As I'll pretend to be professional with the banner. I will be on Bez's stream tomorrow morning. It's the regular kind of fortnightly stream with Bez, myself, Rita Modal, and Alan Paul, where we're sort of talking about the different stages of game design. So we're taking kind of each stage, for each stream. And tomorrow we're going to be up to playtesting. Ironically, I'm talking about pitching today in my own personal context, and I'm sure we'll be talking about pitching at a later point in that series as well. So I might be recycling some content, I'm not sure. But yeah, so tomorrow we'll be talking about playtesting, especially playtesting in these pandemic times, and that will be at 10 o'clock GMT over on Stuck by Bez channel. If you're not following, go over and give Bez a follow. So yeah, hopefully that'll be a bit of fun. And the other thing, which is a bit special this week, is, and I was saying last week, is going to be a special stream on Thursday at 7 p.m. GMT, and it's going to be over at Amari Akil's channel, Akilaverse. And we're going to be, it's going to be myself, Amari, Michael Fox, and Bez, and we're going to be chatting about streaming, like being a game designer and streaming, especially kind of in this new context, as I think Bez is the most experienced in terms of, definitely in terms of hours, but we've all sort of started within the last year, basically. So it's sort of a new genre a little bit. There are more people, more designers streaming. It's still a relatively small number, I guess. But and thanks very much, Alex, for that link. So yeah, go and give Amari a follow now, and the stream will be at 7 p.m. GMT this Thursday evening or morning, wherever you may be in the world. So that should also be a bit of fun. And I think why I really wanted to have this event was, I think that we've all, even though we're all nominally have the same profession or as a tabletop game designer, I think we've all approached streaming and game design in a different way, and I think it would be really great to chat about that, especially as it's a kind of emerging thing on Twitch, and I would love to sort of actually to kind of learn. I think I'm the least probably the least dedicated member of that group, yeah, Bez has said. But yeah, Bez, you lead on hours. Michael and Mara do much more technologically advanced stuff. That's true, and I'm just along for the ride, yeah, so that should be fun. So yeah, put it in your diaries, calendars, whatever. Should be a bit of fun on Thursday 7 p.m. GMT. I will keep saying just to bore it into everybody's head. Yeah, hey Zaid, how you going? Welcome. Bez said you're almost certainly the most experienced. Well, that's very kind. I think we're all around the same place, I guess. But yeah, it'll be a good chat, and who knows, if it goes well, maybe we'll make it a regular thing. We are all bringing something to the table. That is true. Not admitting to be late because I was playing the crew with 3 strangers on BGA since Bez stream. Oh, fantastic! You're spreading the gospel of of the crew. Excellent. So always good. So yes, today, let me change the banner. We're going to be talking about pitching. So I'm actually going to talk about it from a more personal perspective. Actually, part of the idea of the stream was to get myself organized in terms of trying to get some pitches lined up, because I have, it's already March and I actually haven't done that much pitching this year. Normally, by this time, actually, in a normal year, I would have been to 2 major fairs already. I would have been to Nuremberg at the end of January, start of February, and I would have gone to Cannes probably, which is always near the end of February. So yeah, I would have had 2 opportunities to do pitches. Obviously, that hasn't happened this year, as we all know. But I have done a couple of online pitches, 2 or 3, if I think about it, to 2 or 3 publishers, like directly to publishers, but not that many. Not compared to normally in a normal Nuremberg, I would have, I don't know, like 20 meetings probably over a couple of days. In a normal Cannes, I'd probably have at least 10 meetings or so. So yeah, it's like a factor of 10 reduced in terms of number of publishers I'm talking to. And so I kind of wanted to chat like through my own process of thinking about how I'm going to approach it, and maybe try and make some plans for myself. And also try and, like, I guess even ask you in chat, what are the publishers you're really interested in at the moment? I didn't want to kind of like, I was also thinking a little bit from not like pitching in 2021, but also from the perspective of who do you want to pitch to in 2021? What publishers have caught your eye? What do you think would be a great publisher to chat to? And I might try and also kind of show a little bit of the games that we're trying to pitch. Maybe people in chat will know publishers that would be a really good fit. And yeah, it's to try and come up with a bit of a battle plan, I guess, because it's likely that there won't be any events, or events that I can go to for quite a while. Unfortunately, the Czech Republic is currently the worst in Europe in terms of vaccination rate, so I'm not exactly holding my breath, and I don't really feel comfortable going somewhere before I'm vaccinated. Or like especially a big affair, maybe things will change otherwise. But anyway, so I have to be a bit proactive. I have to be a bit different, and maybe my own proactivity might inspire you folks out there to do the same. So feel free to piggyback on my efforts if that makes sense. Yeah, and also as always, if you've got any questions, throw them in the chat. I'm happy to answer. And if you've got any tips or things you think I should check out or chat about in terms of publishers, then yeah, just also throw that in the chat. Manuel says, after a series of bad experiences with the same publisher, I haven't been working with publishers in mind, but I did design a game for Button Shy's last contest. Okay, haven't been working with publishers in mind, but I did design. Okay, fantastic. When was their last contest? I think I've missed it, because yeah, they were doing sort of regular competitions, and then that sort of fell over a little bit. Well, I mean, we can start there. So I mean, where do I start when thinking about pitching? It was last time. Okay, so yeah, it was quite a while ago. Was that the legacy one? I guess I think was it the 1 card, like the 18 card legacy thing? Rory says, I'm drifting more towards the idea of self-publishing. I'd like to do it, but I know the logistics operation stuff is not my strength at all. Yeah, that is pretty much exactly my feeling about self-publishing. It requires a bunch of skills that I think logistics I probably would be okay with, but like all the kind of actually producing the product and like graphic design and blah 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 is completely outside of my wheelhouse, and I don't really have any interest in trying to get the handle around that. So yeah, but that's great, Rory. Definitely look at that. Manuel, yes, it was an 18 card worker placement game. Okay, Manuel's saying I've been looking at things I could distribute as print plays for the time being. Yeah, me too. I think there's definitely this, definitely like print plays and things like that of roll and writes, especially. I think is a really interesting. And I'm actually meaning to. I'm going to find there's a podcast actually which I can let everybody know about. Where do I have it open? I play the game of having just a bunch of links open on my computer, and I actually have a bad feeling I've somehow missed the link now. There was a new podcast with the Button Shy folks. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but they talk about Patreon, and I guess that's another kind of like side thing to self-publishing. that I'm still super interested in. I'm still kind of looking to do it with someone else, maybe, to kind of share some of the load, because I think there are some things I'd be really good at in a Patreon, and kind of looking at that way of doing things. But yeah, I guess I don't know yet how that might be. So anyway, so let's dive into it. So where do I start when thinking about it? So I return to my games overview. So this is kind of like the central hub of all the information I have about my current prototypes and kind of what state they're in terms of pitch. So I have across here, I have games that I'm actively pitching, so that they're, some are a bit more active than others, obviously, and some have been around for longer than others. So there are some games in here that have already been pitched to a lot of people, and I probably have a pretty low expectation of them being signed at this point. And then, of course, there's much newer things which have only been pitched a couple of times. And you can see I've got games, and I've got publishers down the left in a row. And I basically put this would show that I showed AEG this game called Dungeon Legacy in 2016. They were interested. It looks like nothing happened, or maybe I sent print and play to a company or things like that. So I'm trying to get a bit better with like recording what happens with the game. There's probably a good example somewhere along here. Yeah, so there was I had a Skype pitch with Gigamic with this game called Quadrant in July 2020. I sent the rules. This actually should be February 2021. I obviously wasn't thinking about it then. And then I actually sent I did actually send them a print and play. No, not a print and play. I printed it out and sent them the game just last month, actually. So this is where so I basically try and keep up with what's going on here. Alex says, I made an 18-card peer building game for a bunch of contest. Hold on a sec, isn't there an 18-card peer game already somewhere? So one of the games I'll probably focus on today, I've got two kind of games which here. I have this game which is kind of based on an auto chess battler, kind of. It's a drafting game where players draft kind of like a deck of fighters, and then they randomly, like an auto chess battler, you then fight with your deck against a central monster, which is also a deck, actually. And it's a little bit like war, so, you flip a card from the middle deck, everyone flips a card from their own deck, and my card that I flip from my deck, I fight the central monster, and we all do that independently, and we get gold by beating the monster. So we're not fighting each other. And it's kind of that fun, kind of basically trying to be not many choices in the actual battle. All the choices is how do you make your deck as you go into each battle. So that's kind of one game that I have going. And then this other one called Patronage is something a little bit slightly more traditional, kind of a little bit like Elysium. It's a kind of 110 card game thing where you're kind of acquiring cards that have powers. But the kind of nice twist about this is how resource generation is entwined with the card selection. So I will actually try and find a place to show. There's probably a thing on the rules that I can show. Everyone can talk amongst themselves. I've got to find it now. Here we go, Patronage. I'm hoping that the rules are going to have something in the... I'm hoping they have a diagram. They should. If there are good rules, should have diagrams. Yeah, here we go. So basically, to share again. Okay, glad to hear you're already still interested in PvP Patreon. We just need to work out a way of doing this, not a massive time. So yeah, exactly. A bit like the old Good Little Games one as well. Yeah, so I'm glad to know you're still interested, Rory. I am as well, and I definitely share your idea about trying to avoid the time sync problem. So happy to take the time to think about it before we sync all the time. Yeah. I missed a bit in chat. Sorry. Bez, I like the button shy contest in that it did inspire me, but I didn't feel any inclination to do it again when there was no feedback. I like in real life meetings or face-to-face online meetings, you get a vague sense of what they think after demo. Yeah, I agree. That's, for me, I think that's, I think on Friday I was talking about Ravensburger pitching or thing. I can't remember, but at some point. But yeah, it's such a valuable thing. Like pitching is not, like the value is not just in the chance of potentially selling your game. Almost an equal amount of value is in terms of what you can get in terms of feedback to improve your game. So that's really great. Yeah. So anyway, this is Patronage, and essentially you play over a number of rounds. There's a tableau every round. You put out a 4x4 tableau of these cards, and there are 4 colors of cube, and you place 3 cubes randomly on each card. And that's the same setup for each round. There's kind of 3 to 4 rounds depending on the number of players. And the trick is that each player will be on a particular side of the tableau. As you can see, A is at the bottom here, and then B and C. And it's a very simple way of playing in that you basically have a chance to acquire cubes as first part of your turn, and then you can buy a card. And you acquire cubes basically in a line. You choose a line of cards stretching away from you wherever you're looking at the table. So like A would be looking in these kind of vertical columns, moving away from them. And you take up to one cube from each card, whatever color you want. They go into your little supply. And then you use those cubes to buy cards. And cards cost a certain number of colored cubes. And the trick also is that every cube that's left on a card increases the cost of that card. So, you know, this yellow card here, say it costs 2 green, you'd have to pay that 2 green, and then you'd have to pay another 2 cubes of any color to make up for the 2 cubes that are still on the card. So there's this very simple kind of interaction between how you acquire your resources and which cards you're sort of targeting. Because obviously if some cards get multiple cubes removed off them very quickly, they get cheaper and things like that. And then the cards themselves, you know, have a variety of effects helping you get more cubes or get points from a particular selection of cards. Yeah, fairly straightforward and simple. So that's Patronage, and that's with it was co-designed with Doug Kaufman, who runs a really cool board game cafe here in Prague, kind of the first one here in Prague, and it's our first kind of, you know, he kind of co-runs the playtesting group here, and you know, it was our first time sort of working together. So those are kind of the 2 games I would say that are kind of new in that they have been shown to the fewest people. But I think all the games sort of at this end of the column have have people that I should think about pitching to, basically. There's a couple of like good little games. So Good Little Hunters is one of the good little games. It was with a publisher for a really long time, and it just got released to us recently. The publisher decided not to do it after all, sadly. They did pay in advance, which is good. So always get an advance if you can. Yeah, so now we're trying to find a new publisher. I mean, Gigamic is still thinking about it, so you know, but we can still, maybe it's worth to look at more publishers. Alex says enjoyed the video highlights I made. So this is Button Shy, I guess, and getting into the community, but I don't think they even read the rules to my submission. Oh wow, okay, yeah, I don't know which. Like I entered one as well in the kind of the 1 card challenge. I did actually enter it, but yeah, we didn't really get any feedback either. I mean, I suspect they got completely like overwhelmed and then weren't expecting to have that sort of crazy uptake of things. So yeah, it was tricky. Hi, Fed is. Hope you're well. Sorry, don't know how to handle your handle, but welcome. Hope you're well. Yeah, exactly. For that 1 card challenge for Button Shy, it was about 150, which I imagine is well beyond what they ever expected. So yeah, it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. I should also say, I guess this is a good chance to advertise. AEG is having a pitch. Another kind of like pitch project. So pitch project was a thing last year, kind of run by Jay Cormier and Senfong Lim, amongst others. But I know that AEG now is doing their own kind of pitch project. So if you're not part of the, okay, Leafter. Okay. Okay, great. Well, thanks. Thank you for the pronunciation guide. Yeah, so check if you're not part of the Alderac Design Center, and if you have games that might fit with AEG, I'd really recommend. I know not everyone's on Facebook, as I can see from chat, but if you are on Facebook, it's really great. They're quite active there, and they have this pitch project, which basically over the next 3 months you can like pitch games to them, basically, even if you've never pitched games to them before, it's not a competition. They'll look, basically you present a game, I think, as like rules. I think there's just rules, basically. No, hold on, submissions. I think it's a video and sell sheet kind of thing, and then they choose which ones will get an actual meeting with AEG. So yeah, that's just something that's going over the next 3 months to recommend. But yeah, obviously I will always try and keep abreast of these things and tell you all. I'm sure you're all also quite good at finding things on the internet. But yeah, things like that are worth a really good, to as we sort of talk about competitions, it's a really good way to kind of get you to kind of finish a game, or like get it to a point where you can present it to someone else. Can be really that kind of like impetus to finish things can be really, really valuable. But yeah, so and you can kind of see if we go back to my spreadsheet. So yeah, this would kind of be the time where I would now go. I'd probably what I should go is I should go through the publishers that I have met or would meet in the future, and sort of go like, oh, we haven't chatted with this publisher. Maybe we should. Maybe there's a reason to do that. And that's like where I would sort of start, and sort of then I'd go like, okay, well then I should look at kind of emailing these people and trying to set up meetings. So AEG, actually, we already have a meeting with them to pitch soon, kind of through other things. So I'm in pretty regular contact with AEG. We have a game with them that hopefully will be released later this year. So we have a pretty good relationship with them. Alea, I don't know if this is going to be very interesting. This is going to be a slight, I guess, publisher. I mean, I'm not really like, I don't want to really like speak ill of any publishers. I'm not really about that. But excuse me. I guess it's maybe giving a bit of an update of where I am at personally with the publisher. Do let me know if that's interesting or not. Otherwise, I'll stop just going through the list. But this is useful for me because I'm going to keep a list myself of the publishers that I think that are my priorities to contact, basically. And so that's considering the kind of games I have at the moment. So that the Patronage game is kind of a medium weight-ish, like strategic. It's not a filler, but it's like 30 to 40 minutes. But it's special powers and cards, so it's not exactly a family game. The kind of auto chess game is also not a family game. It's very much, I pitched AEG, for example. That game really had AEG in mind. Unfortunately, they didn't want it in the end, but that's the kind of publisher I'm looking for that. And then we have a few micro games which could suit a smaller publisher. I don't really have any smaller, like, kind of really family games at the moment. So that will kind of tell me like where I don't really want to, like, I might not pitch to a publisher I would have pitched to you normally because I just don't have any games for them. Leaved says, look at your games, you have different kinds of games in Look. Guess that also brings you to different publishers. Yeah, exactly. So that's the first thing to think about with pitching. Always think about what you've got. Don't waste anybody's time if possible. And yeah, you don't have to, like, especially right now, I think when you have to, it's a little bit different at a fair, because when you're at a convention or something, you'll kind of meet with everybody you can, even if you don't have a lot to show, because it's quite easy to do that. But when you have to set up individual meetings, then I think that it slightly raises the bar in what you need to have. Like, you want to have a game that you think is a good fit with that publisher. Anyway, so Alea, we actually only met with Alea a couple of times, and that was more through like Ravensburger generally. Actually, and we met with Stefan, I'm forgetting his last name, but he's now left. He was the main Alea person for like 20 years, but he's now left. So we've kind of lost the contact there. And we don't really have any games for Alea at the moment, so that's not having. Alleycat, actually already working on something with Alleycat anyway. I should also say, I'll shout out for Alleycat, because I like Alleycat. We've worked with them quite a bit. They've got a new Kickstarter today, Eternal Palace. Check it out. Dice placement kind of game, which is kind of cool. And they'll be kickstarting Dice Hospital Emergency Roll, which is like a roll and write, or flip and fill in the Dice Hospital universe from Brett and I in the next month or two, I think. So it's not this Kickstarter, but it'll be quite soon. And Brett and I are working on a game for Alleycat at the moment, so I don't think we need to pitch them more stuff when we've got plenty of stuff with Alleycat at the moment. Amigo is a really interesting publisher. Obviously, they do really great games. They're much more kind of like family, mass markety kind of things. And to be honest, they're actually a company that we were kind of going away from pitching. I don't really make games in that kind of thing anymore. So yeah, Amigo doesn't make sense at the moment. And Karma is super interesting. So I'm not sure if people like Theo Rivera, who I talk about a lot, a really fantastic French designer, also worth checking out on Twitch. Theo Sacha, Theo _SACHA. Only streams in French. We're going to try and do a joint stream soon to kind of announce one of our new games, which had a very like kind of stealth announcement, basically. Which has been because like distributors know about it and it's kind of public information, but the publisher hasn't really announced it because it's a children's game, so it like doesn't get like a big fanfare on Board Game Geek or anything like that. But we're going to do a stream together. Anyway, why I'm talking about Theo. So for those who don't know Ankama, one of the games they released recently is Draftosaurus, which is from Theo and Antoine Bowser and Corentin Labrat and Ludovic Montblanc. Which has been super successful. I've actually saw that Theo tweeted out over the weekend, I think, that they've passed 100,000 copies, which is amazing. So congrats to Theo and the team and Ankama. And we also have a game with Ankama that I hope will come out this year, Nile Artifacts. And I really like what Ankama does, actually. So I am going to add them to my list because I think they're a company that definitely I could actually show kind of both of the games that we have, especially because like Patronage, you could imagine fitting in a kind of smaller box. It's just a deck of cards and some cubes. It's not like that resource intensive. And they have a really interesting line of small box games, like the same size as Draftosaurus. It's about the size of a 2-player Lookout game, for example, that kind of size square box. So they're kind of interesting. I guess maybe I don't know whether I'll skip through. Blue Orange, I have actually a couple of projects with them already. We're in quite regular contact. They were one of the companies I actually pitched to earlier this year already. So I don't need to pitch them again. Bombix, I actually don't know why I have Bombix in here because I don't think I've actually ever pitched them, even though I am quite interested in pitching them. They make some games you might know, like Abyss was one of theirs. They're a French company. There was a relatively recent game also that I really like the look of, which I will look up here. Which like all the it's a card game, quite a small card game, but where everything looks like like a folio of a book or something. I'm just trying to find publishers. Bombix. Need to play some waiting music or something. Oh yes, Codex Naturalis. I'm not sure if anyone has seen this game or not, but I think it looks super cool. Basically, it has this really cool, like kind of really amazing look and this kind of cool way of the cards overlapping. So they make these kind of interesting small card games. They've also made like Imaginarium, another Bruno Cathala game. They just have really beautiful looking games, and I think that it's been interesting that we've never kind of pitched to them, and I'm always interested in companies that I like but I've never met with, because that also means that you normally have a number of games kind of in your back pocket that you've shown to a lot of other publishers, and that you can, there's a new chance to show things. And I really like the products they're making. I think they look great. They have like also a lot of small tin games like the Builders, Middle Ages and things like that. So I'm going to add Bombix to my list. I'm going to have to find a contact for them somehow, but I feel like Theo might be able to help me out. Yeah, Theo is like the doyen of like he's very, very well connected in the French kind of community. So he helps me out with contacts. Yes, the Abyss, yeah, Conspiracy Abyss Universe. Yeah, exactly. There's Conspiracy, which is this small card game in the Abyss universe. I remember playing a prototype with Bruno, actually. And I'm hoping to pick up a copy soon, actually. It was quite hard to get for a while, but I'll definitely like to look to pick it up now. So that's Bombix. Brain Games, they're I'm going to get this wrong, Latvian company, I think, or Estonian. And we just met with them once. It was a nice meeting. They weren't kind of interested in anything we did, and I don't think we have anything that really makes sense for them at the moment. Catch Up Games is a really interesting up-and-coming French publisher. If people have seen Loop or The Loop Inc., which is another one of Theo's games, I just seemed a bit. Another game, they brought Paper Tales to sort of wider distribution. They make really great-looking games, and it's. I think we had a couple of games close to being published with them. So actually, they would be an interesting people to reach out to. So I will put Catch Up Games here. I see. We tried to get as Miss Conspiracy every day to Essen, but it never made it through customs. Yeah, exactly. Last year it was sad it didn't get to Essen. Creativity Hub or Hub Games. Actually, I should rename them. I haven't updated. I've been chatting with Rory and Michael about a few projects, but yeah, I know they're pretty busy at the moment, so probably not. Days of Wonder, don't really think these games are Days of Wonder games. Not really. I mean, maybe, but I think it feels like a lot of Days of Wonder stuff is moving in the kind of much more family-orientated sort of space now. The other interesting thing also is that, all the Asmodee studios are becoming a little bit more organized in that there's kind of like more one central way to pitch. Like there's like a few central Asmodee people. There's the Space Cowboys folks, and basically if you pitch to any one of the Asmodee studios, they all talk to each other. So you don't necessarily have to do a lot of separate, meetings. And I know, for example, that we've been talking with Space Cowboys a lot, and I know that Days of Wonder are in the same office. So I don't necessarily need to chat with them. Daily Magic Games, really great American publisher who I've met once or twice at Gen Con. And yeah, actually, I probably could reach out to them again because there was a game that they were interested in. Now that I remember, and now I didn't send the game to them because another publisher was interested already, but that publisher is now passed. So I should. This is reminding me to get back in touch with them. So they do like Kingdoms of Valeria, like all the Valeria games and things like that, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll put a note that I need to, put that game to them. Eggersfield Plan B. At the moment, we are very much in the middle of working on a current project with them. So, I don't think we're going to be pitching anything to them at the moment, just because we're really like in crunch time for a current project. So that kind of takes precedence, I think. Manuel says that publisher was started. Which publisher are you talking about, Manuel? It's cool to know. Alex says, does anyone use the Cardboard Edison directory? I don't. I also felt I was tempted to actually become a patron and actually kind of stream going through it, but I don't. I might reach out to Cardboard Edison and see if they would be okay with that, just to kind of show it off. But I kind of feel like that's slightly. I don't know if I don't think it's great because obviously, it would be kind of sharing paid for content freely on the internet. So I don't want to do that. But I don't use it. I'm not sure if anyone else does use it. Oh, sorry, Rob says. I did use the capital, but it was a bit clunky, but yielded useful info. Yeah. There's also Chris Backey's. He's also got Chris runs the virtual. Was one of the organizers of the virtual playtest group, he also has like a database as well that he's selling like a one-time fee to. I'm not sure if anyone has looked at that. It was Data Magic. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I had a really fun time anyway with this. So yeah. Oh, okay. So Carbonates are useful, but it hasn't seemed to be very updated over the past few years. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I think that's like I commend these really big efforts to keep things up, but I think ultimately you've got to be kind of pretty active in social media and checking and kind of doing your own work. You know, there's ultimately not a lot of substitution for that. And also just reaching out to other designers, like if you know a publisher that you'd really like to chat to, you know, often like if you know a designer who's worked with that company, often they're quite happy to pass on like an email address or something like that, or a contact, or to kind of help you to work that out. So that's also another way to kind of to look at that. Floodgate, we also have a current project with, and which we're also kind of working on. I could chat to Floodgate. I feel like these games aren't quite Floodgate-y kind of material. So Floodgate, for example, does Sagrada. So they're really beautiful kind of slightly abstract games, abstract puzzly kind of games, and we don't really have those at the moment. Flying games, I can't actually even remember who they are. This is now me going through the thing and not remembering what's going on. So not going to meet with a publisher I can't even remember who they are. Foxmind, a really interesting French-Canadian publisher and distributor. We've met with them a few times. But they're tending to look for very family kind of base games, and don't really have them at the moment. Funforge, obviously I have quite a good relationship with Funforge. Obviously they've published Monumental and Professor Evil and Citadel of Time, and we're also kind of working on a current project. So yeah, we've got plenty to. Yeah, that's a bit of a common thread with looking at, you know, if you already have kind of stuff going on with a publisher, I tend to think like, especially right now when, you know, it's hard to communicate and trying not to overburden the publishers in that way, I guess. GDM Games is a Spanish publisher, a small Spanish publisher who I met at Gen Con once. It was quite nice, but haven't really been much in contact with them since. And yeah, I don't think I have anything for them. Gigamik were one of the people that we did actually meet with, that I did meet with already this year, so that's already done. Good Games Publishing, they're a great Australian publisher. Actually, it's now reminding me to chase them up about something because they have a game of ours at the moment. I'm not trying. I don't really have anything bad to say about most of these publishers. So when I say like I need to chase something up, you know, often it's just me remembering things. It's not you know, too much ill behavior on behalf of them. Grail Games, also fantastic Australian publisher. David Walk-Harding does amazing stuff. You might know them for like the Boomerang series of games. Scott Arms. What other things? They've done a lot of like Reiner Knizia, like the new Medici kind of reprints and things like that. Yellow and Yangtze. Really fantastic publisher. We have a new game that will kick-started with them this year. I know they're full-time on that, so I'll keep them with that at the moment. Harbour, obviously quite a well-known publisher. Again, much more family kind of children's games. Don't really have anything for them at the moment. Not that I want to speak ill will about too many publishers. Handsome Gluck is a great publisher. We've had a little bit of frustration in terms of getting good feedback. It came up in the chat earlier about, you know, the tricky thing sometimes is you just want some feedback. And it does happen when you meet with publishers, even when you have good meetings. But if that doesn't result in any feedback, even if just very like abrupt feedback, like no, we weren't interested. There've just been a few too many times where we feel like we've shown games and then just don't hear anything for a long time. So it just lessens the interest to keep pitching that company. It's not necessarily like that there's a huge problem with the company, but personally, it's just like there's only so many hours in the day, and you know, prefer to kind of like target publishers you think you have a better chance, or that it's more likely that they're going to give you some sort of response, I guess. Helvetique, fantastic publisher. Would really love to work with Helvetique. They do these amazing small games. I love their graphic design. I love the product design. Just don't have a game that fits with Helvetique, unfortunately, at the moment. I would really like to pitch them something, and I know they're looking for games, but just don't have something for them at the moment. Hook is sort of so they're a publisher, but they're also a bigger distributor in Germany. Actually, probably we don't have a current contact at Hook. This is kind of old. Like this spreadsheet has been here for many years now, and there are some companies where we haven't met with them for several years. So And this actually, I don't normally kind of like go through the list like this. This is like a new thing for me. So yeah, there are some publishers here who could almost delete really, but I'm kind of keeping them for like archival purposes, I guess. Yellow probably would be worth meeting with Yellow. Yeah, I could probably do that. We always have a good meeting with Yellow generally each year, and we meet them a lot actually because see them at Nuremberg, see them at Cannes, see them at Essen. And they have a much wider remit of games, and obviously we've worked with them a lot at the moment. So but it's yeah. So it's reminding me. Vez says Hadi. So Hadi from Helvetique always said he wanted to sign a game about discrimination. I felt slightly sad that we didn't sign Seize the Power with them, but Inside the Box did seem a better fit. Yeah, so there you go. As Vez says, someone else make a game about discrimination, pitch it to Helvetique. It's a good tip there. And Hadi's great. I really enjoyed the couple of interactions I've had with him. Been really positive, and they gave good feedback on the pitches and things like that. So yeah, they're really great. Indie Border's cards kind of has changed now. This is like back when it was still Travis Worthington. Yeah, so like when they were independent and not part of like the kind of Stronghold conglomerate. So yeah, probably not. Jellybean does really great games. Obviously has been doing, Peter Hayward's been doing these podcasts recently, Fun Problems, but don't really have any games that would really fit with them. Keymaster, fantastic publisher. Really love Keymaster. Would love to work with them. Just don't really have a game for them at the moment. Cosmos, worked a lot with Cosmos. Obviously, we already had a meeting earlier this year, so that one's done. Lubalud, could pitch Lubalud actually, but again, we have a current project with them, which I feel like that's kind of the focus at the moment, rather than pitching more stuff. Same with Luda Creations. We have a current project, and it would be good to kind of see that one through. Madigo, we've never really met with that much, once or twice, and I don't think I even have a current contact with Madigo, so that one's probably not going to happen. Mattel, again, much more sort of like family kind of games, mass market sort of things. And don't really have anything for them. So yeah, it's making it easy. Maple Games, unfortunately, not really around anymore. They were sort of short-lived, so probably nothing there. Rory says, Keymaster, a dream publisher for me. Love that graphic designer's top priority games. Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely see a good fit there, Rory. So I hope you, yeah, definitely, if you need a contact, let me know. They're really great people. Enjoy my interactions with them a lot. Sadly, Mayfair Lookout doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, Lookout does. Have a few things. We kind of pitched a game to Lookout not that long ago, and haven't had anything for a little while. So yeah, we might leave that for a while. Moses is kind of interesting, kind of like the German Osprey. Actually, interesting enough, they're another company that was sort of is focused almost in bookstores in Germany. So they have a very different approach to games. I really love what they do. And always had some really good interactions with Moses, especially we normally meet at Nuremberg. But yeah, don't really have anything for them at the moment. Oh, I see. One of the stretch goals for Control was a typeface. Yeah, that definitely seems like something that Keymaster would do. Norris is another kind of, they're kind of like with Zoc. They're part of the same group as Zoc in Germany. Again, more kind of family kind of games. But they were, now that I remember, they were looking for a kind of narrative-ish game, and we do have one to pitch. So, for example, Norris was very close to signing what became the adventure games, but they chose not to in the end. Osprey, I don't know if I said it before, but looks like we're about to sign a game with Osprey, so that's great. We met with them already this year, and that was a really great meeting. Pegasus, about to have a game released with Pegasus. Also just pitched some games to them and sent them a thing not that long ago. So they're already kind of ticked off for 2021 at the moment. Portal, we met with once. I get the feeling they're not really taking outside submissions at the moment, to be honest. So I don't think, I don't think that's well. Queen, unfortunately, a little bit like Handsome Gluck over the years, haven't been that impressed with the meetings with Queen, sadly. I have other thoughts about Queen. I don't want to be too negative, but so yeah, short to say that I'm probably not gonna. Yeah, we won't be pitching to Queen. We haven't pitched to Queen for quite a couple of years, but we had some good times pitching them earlier in the time. Bravo Zergo, kind of working with them already and pitched them stuff. Renegade, really enjoyed. Maybe I should look and see what Renegade's doing with pitching at the moment. I've always been impressed with what they do with their games, and again, they do like a range of things, which is sort of interesting. But yeah, nothing. Yeah, we haven't pitched them for quite a while, so it would be good to kind of. I need to do a bit of research myself and kind of see what they're doing. Actually, I could maybe we could all go. We could do it together. Renegade Games. Okay, so this is me. This is the simulating. What would I do? So I would go to the page. I'd go to about probably. What does it look like? I don't know if careers is the right thing. Probably not. So this is an example of a publisher that is sadly doesn't have a easy way to see how you can pitch to them on their website. Let's have a look. Sometimes you have to do a bit of searching. I mean, customer service can always be. I don't recommend necessarily doing customer service. It's just sometimes in the customer service section they have like that's where they put their kind of submissions and stuff. But they don't have. It doesn't look like that. Maybe home. No. Okay, so it doesn't look like they have information about how to, maybe about Renegade. No. Okay, so no, basically, bottom of the page may have contact. Yeah. I mean, they do have they have like a customer service line. I do have an email as well. I guess I was just, yeah, I was just seeing kind of maybe they would have some information because, like, if I compare that to Alley Cat Games, which I always use as a really great example of a publisher that I think does a really good job of doing that. So you can go to contact us, and they have game submissions, so it's like a really clear thing, and then they're very clear about what games they're looking for, which is fantastic. What games they're not looking for, and then they have a form that you can fill out. And I mean, that would be. I would love if more publishers did that. I know it's a bit of effort, and I know having open submissions is quite difficult. So I'm not saying that they should have it, but it'd be nice if they just had the information. Like they could say, we're not accepting submissions, and then you kind of know and you found that sort of thing. Does Suzanne work with Renegade? I don't know. Maybe. I'll find a way to have a look. But I guess I'm showing what I would do. I don't necessarily have special like tricks always. I'm not that different. Anyway. Repos kind of doesn't exist anymore, sort of subsumed by Asmodee. Rule and Make, they were an Australian publisher that lived for a little while and unfortunately don't exist anymore. Schmidt, a really great German publisher, maybe best known for like Quacks of Quedlinburg and games like this. Haven't met with them for a while, and I think the games I've got at the moment not really a great fit, so it's probably a pass. Space Cowboys, I've met with, talked to already this year. Stronghold. We used to meet with them quite regularly, and I could have another look actually at Stronghold maybe. Definitely haven't chatted with them a while, and I know they do a kind of a wide range of games. Thundergriff, I really love the look of Thundergriff games. I think they recently had the Darwin's Journey Kickstarter, for example. I think they have beautiful looking games, and in some ways, I think some of the games that we did used to have a few kind of more abstract games that I think could have fit with what they do. But they don't. But we don't really have any games currently that would fit Thundergriff, so that's why I'm not that interested in pitching to them. Softwares, do you still pitch to Stronghold, IB, and C separately? I actually don't really pitch to either of them, to be honest. We used to have a really regular meeting with Travis at Essen. it was quite unique, actually. He was the only publisher that we'd always take a dinner meeting with, and we'd always have currywurst at a kind of like just local sort of like it's like a fast food joint, you know. So we'd go and just have some cheap currywurst and like play some games basically, and kind of like pitch them. But so that was always fun, and we kind of had a good relationship with Travis. But since that's all sort of changed, we haven't really kept up with them. So actually, we don't really pitch to either of them, to be honest. I'm not sure if anyone else has experience, like more current experiences with, like, I guess they're called like indie game studios or something like this now. Thunderworks Games are the folks that do Role Player. Keith Matheson, I think. Keith Majetka or something like that. Had a really great. I loved meeting him in Gen Con. He's a really friendly guy, and just had a really positive experience with Keith. And actually, I think it's reminded me it could be an interesting fit for this kind of auto battling game, because they sort of make games in that vein. So and it could fit in that universe actually. So I will. That's someone to look at, definitely. TMG, been in contact with TMG already, so nothing new there. WizKids, we've had some over the time. We've pitched various things to them. They're kind of looking at a couple of games at the moment, so not really that interested in pitching them. Z-Man we've sort of kept in contact with, and again they're kind of in the Asmodee umbrella. And Zoc, really great publisher, but again more family friendly kind of games and things like that. Keith Majetka. I feel like, yeah, I should be able to say that because it actually looks like a Czech name, but even though he's American, but maybe of Czech or Polish ancestry or something like that. Anyway, yes, thank you, Nicholas. Anyway, so that's kind of looking through my like publishers I've already worked with, but of course the other thing is to look at like new publishers. So one easy way to do that is to, you know, I'm having a look at the Board Game Geek has this great thing about new releases. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Thank you very much for the follow, Leifter. Thank you very much for that. So yeah, maybe there's some new publishers that I haven't really thought of. I'm going to just kind of scroll through this, and if something catches my eye, I will talk about it. I don't think I need to just go through every publisher, otherwise it's just going to take forever, and a lot of them I just don't know. Arcane Wonders kind of interesting, although they're American. They're importers, Aquatica actually, aren't they? Yeah, kind of interesting. Orange, Brain Crack is I've been quite happy, interested in kind of what they're doing, but I don't really have the kind of. They tend to do these kind of more Euro-y style games. I don't really have anything like that for them at the moment. Cranio, actually, it's funny that Cranio is not on the list because we do pitch to Cranio already, have a project with them already. I know they're a little bit behind on things, so no point in doing more pitching. How about we show all? Wait for wait for everything to happen. Let's see if there's anyone else that I don't know, or that I think would be a good thing to pitch, a good folk to pitch to. It's quite interesting to see Frosted pick up all like some of the Button Shy games, which is really cool. I'm glad to see them getting a bit more of a wider release in Europe, in German, which is great. Again, Helvetic, love their stuff. Theo's got a new game to kind of coming out with them soon, which is great. New adventure game, just a little thing from Cosmos. This one actually we didn't write. There's a Hauke Gerdes is a famous German author who worked on this story, and I'm sure I'll go through that when it comes out a little bit more. Also interested in this Robin Hood game, which is kind of interesting. They have like punch board out of the board or something, which is kind of cool, kind of like a legacy game. It's not supposed to be looking for new games that I want to play. It's publishers. Ludonaut would be interesting. Yeah, they do an interesting mixture of games. Yeah, maybe, actually, Ludonaut should be someone I look at. So Ludonaut, maybe I always get the publishers mixed up, but I'm pretty sure Ludonort did Express. What was the train game like where you're fighting each other? Cold Express. I'm pretty sure Ludonort did that, for example. Yeah, I get mixed up with like Ludo Nova, and there's all these Ludo games. Yeah, I could maybe Pandasaurus might be interesting. I'd be really interesting. And they're bringing Loop, for example, Loop to America, which is really cool. Pearl game, Pegasus. Spy Connection. It'll be coming soon. Coming soon, I hope. Also, just a heads up, if anyone didn't see this, because I haven't seen it announced anywhere, but this is a new Phil Walker Harding game, which I didn't know about either. Phil didn't tell me, but it's a kind of like a dry erase flip and fill from Ravensburger, which is super interesting. And the rules are up; you can find them. I mean, there's a pretty good thing here, but it looks a little bit like Silver and Goldish, but with like, I think there's ways in which you can kind of flip out these panels to get new scoring conditions and things like that. Looks like you know what Phil does, the great designer. Actually, really, I'm quite interested in playing this hopefully sometime, but I just hadn't heard it talked about anywhere. A flip and fill card, yeah, nice. I see what you did there, Manuel. Very nice, very nice. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to find. I mean, this is not the best way to look for publishers either, but you never know. You might see someone that's kind of interesting. Schmidt Spieler is still doing lots of really interesting stuff as well, and maybe I should get back into meeting with Schmidt actually. I could meet with Studio H. So Studio H is kind of a new French studio that sort of split out of Madigo, and I know a few of the folks there, and they could be an interesting folk to, yeah. So all the games from Cedric Chaboussi. So if people don't know Cedric Chaboussi, he's the designer of maybe best known as Lewis and Clark. Really lovely guy. I really always had a lot of fun meeting with fairs, especially places like Cannes. And he has a bunch of new games coming out this year. And some people might have seen Colors, Glow, which is also this new game from, maybe it is from Bombix as well, actually. This kind of black and white game with colored dice, which looks amazing. And he has 2 other games on this list already, so he's having a very productive year. I think that is going to be it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's kind of, well, I've done the work for myself. I've used the stream as an excuse to do some work. So I now have a bit of a list of publishers, and now this is a good kind of attack plan of people I should get in contact with, and try and set up some meetings to pitch games. And all the games that I pitch, they exist on Tabletop Simulator, so it's a really easy way to either just share screen and I can kind of show it on Tabletop Simulator without the other person having to log on or anything. But sometimes the publisher are quite happy to log on as well and to be there in Tabletop Simulator and be able to manipulate things. So that's all kind of available. But yeah, so that's a bit of a plan for the future for me. So that was a little insight to thinking about pitching. I guess I didn't really talk about the actual act of pitching, which is probably good because I'm saving that for when I'm on Bez's stream sometime in the future when we get to that topic in the regular fortnightly streams. But yeah, I think that will do me. We're about a bit over an hour now, so it might do me for today. But if anyone's got some last questions, throw them in the chat, and let me know what you're getting up to over the next couple of days. This week is you can watch me every single day on stream if you wish. So obviously I was here today. There's a stream tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock GMT, 9 a.m. GMT on Wednesday for the normal board game cuppa, 7 p.m. GMT on Thursday for this special stream with Bez, Amari, and Michael, and back at the normal time, 4 p.m. GMT on Friday. So that is going to be a bit of a crazy week. Bez's question, very quick question. Do you often design with a publisher in mind that you've not worked with before? No, not recently. Sometimes there are a couple of publishers that I haven't worked with that I quite like to. But I rarely design with a single publisher in mind. I do design with maybe a very like clear goal and like a set of publishers that would fit. But I don't tend to design for a single publisher that much. If I really want to design for a single publisher, I would try and like get talking with them and maybe see really what they're looking for, so that you have a bit of information as to like what might be something worth like aiming for. It's a lot more risky if you've only got one target. There's so much that goes into like the luck of getting something signed. So I would think that there's a good chance it might be a waste of time, sadly. So yeah, that's why I do it that way. What about Saturday, Sunday? It will be a rest. I will be resting. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that's it. So yeah, come drop by tomorrow to Bez's stream. I think it'll be quite a bit of fun. But thank you all for hanging about today. You've got something to send me. Oh, very exciting, Alice. Thanks for that. Nicholas has been updating his spreadsheets. You haven't worked too much lately, so it's been productive. Oh, great, fantastic. Glad it can be. It's that kind of shared productivity moments, I guess, and things like that. So let's go and raid somebody. If anyone has someone that they think we should raid, do let me know. There's not anybody. There's this Mike Bass music person who Bez got me onto. So if you have another recommendation, you always seem to be full of good recommendations for raids. Fleshing out design ideas, great. Go there, and thanks, Nicholas. Looking forward to seeing. You're watching Dan live. What type of stream is it? Not actually watching them. So is that a recommendation, Bez, or is that a what are they called again? Dan live. Let's have a look. Okay, it's a kind of a multidisciplinary musician. Oh, interesting. Oh, I see. They're playing interactive games. Okay, cool. No worries. Great. Well, let's see. Oh, we can head over and just say hi to Dan, I guess. Yeah, have a great evening all, and see you tomorrow via Bez, and on Wednesday for the Board Game Cuppa. Let me find a way to. Go here. Okay, let's go. Oh, okay. Oh, Russia's selecting a song. How interesting. I will check it out. Great. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Take care. See you later. Bye.
Hello, everyone. Oh, no. Oh, God, I apologize. Oh, no. They're never going to come back. Y'all, I'm usually a musician. I needed to eat a snack, so we're playing this horrible game, and I apologize ahead of time for what you're about to witness. Wait. Guys, hi. I've been reading the food. Oh, jeez. Did I finish drawing this right? Oh, do you understand what's happening in this drawing? Oh, God. What? This is